There are dozens of mysteries in the Pokemon series, but the Ghost Girl in Pokemon X and Y is one that has gone seemingly unsolved. While many others have taken a stab at this topic, they're all kinda wrong. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, this is the Lumiose Ghost Girl. Let's turn back the clock to 2013. You've just purchased your copy of Pokemon X and Y and made your way to the beautiful Lumiose City. Being such a large city on the first 3D Pokemon games, you're naturally encouraged to explore, but one lonely office building hides a dark secret that you encounter without any prompting. The music stops, the lights flicker, and suddenly, a ghastly figure is behind you. She floats across the floor, not even taking a step before she stops to say, "No, you're not the one." And then she vanishes. No trace left of her, and no other NPCs around you even seem to know of her existence. So many questions flood your mind. Who was that? How did she get here? Where did she go? The next step would be to hop online and see what everybody else is saying, but answers are inconclusive. While this isn't the first Ghost Girl in Pokemon, that honor would go to the ghost in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl of the old chateau, but it was around here that discussion reached a high point, with Poketube being pretty solidified at the time. I think the issue with this event is that the previous ghosts had full stories, actual events, and their own spooky locations. As I mentioned, other videos discussing the topic include some weird information. No real definitive conclusion, but they often claim that the same Ghost Girl is often seen in various other places, like listening to the elevator in a hotel, and in the desert, even in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Although these NPCs seem to be just others of the same trainer class and model of Hex Maniacs, minding their own business. They don't speak or behave like the Ghost Girl, and on top of that, they don't disappear later as all other Ghost Girls do. Again, you'll find multiple similar looking people in every Pokemon game because the overworld models and sprites are the same for the same trainer class. Every hiker looks the same, every youngster looks the same. Unless they specifically specify otherwise, you have to assume that each NPC in each location is a different person. How these other Hex Maniacs became known as, quote, evidence toward the Ghost Girl mystery is extremely baffling to me. One person probably started it, and for some reason everybody else just copied it. And if I could be mean for a second, this is stupid and makes for some of the worst Pokemon theory videos, in my opinion. The only one that makes sense is the Hex Maniac in Mount Pyre, who says the exact same thing as the one in Lumiose City. However, she doesn't disappear like all the ghosts do. I think it's worth noting that while we don't have the most solid Pokemon timeline, it's generally thought that the events of X and Y occur after those of Ruby and Sapphire. So it could be possible that this is the Hex Maniac when she's alive, and by the time we encounter her in Lumiose City, she's dead. It is always possible that this is just a reference, as in Orash she's not too significant, while in X and Y it was a whole event, as short as it may have been. Speaking of Hex Maniacs as a trainer class, there is one who might have some useful information for us. This comes from a page on the Japanese Pokemon website called Pokemon Horror Spot. It's set up as basically a specific Hex Maniacs blog, as she discusses mysteries throughout some of the Pokemon games. The translations are a bit rough, again it's a Japanese website, but it's mostly meant to highlight these events. And concerning the Lumiose Ghost, the Hex Maniac says,
The office on the second floor of that building. I went there because it's been talked about among occult enthusiasts. I listened to the rumor, but I didn't get much information from the people in that building. It seemed that no one was using the second floor where the ghost appeared, but there seems to be some secrets yet.
Some basic information, but the interesting part is that it also discusses the scary house in X and Y, and the old man who tells the story. Concerning this, a question is posed to her that says, who is the scary uncle in No Scary? There is a line in the scary story that reminds me of the ghost of Miare City. Is there anything to do with that ghost?
That uncle is very famous in the occult mania world, didn't you know? When I talked about scary things at the neighborhood association, I was really excited, and now people from various cities in Miare City ask me to hear the story. Maybe I met that ghost.
And it is also mentioned on other parts of the website earlier that there is a line in the story that supposedly resembles something with the mystery Ghost Girl. I can't exactly find what line in the scary story might be reminiscent of the Lumiose Ghost Girl. It might be a difference in translation, only happening in the Japanese versions of the game, but not the English versions. And again, since this is a Japanese website that never got an English equivalent, it could also be that the line mentioning something being behind the storyteller is similar to the Ghost Girl as she appears behind you in the event. I think there is mostly just the connection that these both are spooky things that happen in the Kalos region. And especially because the story told by the old man in the scary house seems to be something that he made up. He even asks for a tip after he's done telling you this story. So it seems a lot more like a tourist trap kind of thing, as opposed to the real ghost that we actually encountered earlier in Lumiose City. Honestly, there is no real answer concerning the Ghost Girl. It's extremely vague, by choice, and is probably just meant to be something strange in the games. And really that kind of makes it a bit more realistic. Ghost stories or strange occurrences in the real world have no satisfying ending, or deep backstory, or connection to anything else. They're either just weird things that happen, or they're probably made up stories. Again, in the case of the scary house, all just meant to freak us out and get us talking, which this definitely did. It kind of becomes a problem when previous ghosts in other Pokemon games have had backstories and events, making us expect it to happen in X and Y. And as to whether it was meant to be expanded upon in a hypothetical third game or sequels, we really can't say for sure. I think that if there were supposed to be more to this story, then there would have been. I really do think it's just meant to be unexplained. And that makes some sense, as after the old man tells a story, all he has left to say is, "Some things are best left unknown. The truth is best carried to the grave." But anyway, hey, this is GatorEX, and let me know what you think. What are some of your ideas for the Lumiose Ghost Girl, and I guess Hex Maniac as in general, Ghost Girls in general. Maybe I'll discuss some of the other ones this month, or maybe not. There's a whole lot that I'm still kind of working out as far as schedules go, but if you have any thoughts, I'll leave them in the comments below. Love to get this discussion going, and as you can tell, I wasn't exactly the most positive about a lot of these theories. Maybe I came off a little too mean in the video, but I mean, overall, like, you can talk about whatever you want. It's fine, but it's just that I think that maybe this being analyzed a little too much, blown out of proportion. And again, I don't even really have my own ideas or my own thoughts about what kind of connections could be made, but overall, I think it's still a very scary and spooky story. So if you enjoyed the content, leave a like, subscribe. You can enable notifications by clicking that bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out for the rest of the month, especially because we're going to be discussing more spooky and scary things in Pokemon. But anyway, this has been GatorEX. Have a nice day.